Thank you for watching this wellbeing video on how to support your anxious child. I'm going to explain what anxiety is, how to notice anxiety in your child, and what as a parent or carer you can do to help and support them. Anxiety is an emotion that we all feel from time to time, and it's a normal response to a situation that we find threatening. Anxiety is that feeling you get when you're worried, scared, or feel under threat. When we experience anxiety, it triggers our fight, flight, freeze response. And so we may take flight, which is where we avoid situations that make us anxious. Or we might freeze, for example, when our minds go blank and we just can't think clearly. Or maybe we fight, where we get angry and lash out at people. Severe anxiety can impact well-being, affect self-esteem and confidence, and can stop you from doing the things you want to or you need to. Anxiety can cause lots of different symptoms, and it might affect how you feel physically and mentally. Take a moment and think how you feel when you get anxious. Do you recognize any of the signs mentioned on this image? Epilepsy is much more than just seizures, and children and young people with epilepsy can experience high levels of anxiety. This can become a problem if they begin to feel anxious all of the time or for no obvious reason, and also when it starts to get in the way of their day-to-day life. Anxiety can make a child feel scared, panicky, embarrassed, or ashamed. There are some signs you might notice that could indicate your child's feeling anxious. You might notice that they seem sad, tearful, or withdrawn, or are looking for constant reassurance and being very clingy. They might complain about headaches or stomach aches, and they might seem angry and argumentative, or start to avoid school or seeing friends, and not wanting to do the things they used to. Sometimes there's also changes to their sleep and their appetite. Having worries or feeling anxious is a normal part of growing up, but if it becomes overwhelming, it can impact your child's ability to enjoy their life and to take part in things. The good news is that you can really help your child to manage their anxiety, and I'm going to share some easy ways that you can support them to do that. Children and teenagers often don't recognize that they have anxiety, and instead sometimes they start to worry there's something wrong with them. Talking to your child about anxiety will not make them feel even more anxious, and so do encourage your child to open up about any fears and worries and listen to them carefully to understand their feelings. Talking about emotions can be really tricky, especially when we're not used to doing it. And sometimes it can be easier for children to write or draw about how they're feeling. You could try creating a worry box where your child writes about or even draws a picture of their worries and posts these notes and drawings into the box. You can then look at these together at the end of the day or the week and talk them over. Children model their parents' behavior and learn from how their parents show and manage their own emotions. So if you talk openly about your feelings with your child, it'll help them to understand and express their own feelings. Do encourage relaxation. While it won't make what your child is stressed or worried about go away, learning to relax will help to calm their body and mind. So do support quiet times, maybe reading a book, listening to music, playing with a pet, or colouring in. There are some really great colouring in books designed for older children and teenagers available now. You could also teach your child some simple relaxation techniques. There are loads of different examples available online for all ages. Do get them to practice for a few moments every day when they're feeling calm, because as we all know, when you're in an anxious state, it's hard to think clearly and to take things in. Visualization's a simple relaxation technique. It just involves using your imagination to create calming and peaceful images in your mind. So ask your child to imagine a calm and peaceful place and to picture themselves there. Doesn't matter where it is, as long as it's a place they feel safe and calm. It could be their bedroom, somewhere in nature, or somewhere they've been on holiday. Encourage them to build up a really detailed picture. What can they see? What can they hear? What can they feel under their feet as they're sitting or standing? By using their imagination to create calm and peaceful images, it dials and turns down the physical signs of anxiety and takes their attention away from their anxious thoughts. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique is another really easy exercise, and you can use this one whenever your child's feeling overwhelmed. So ask your child to look around and name 5 things they can see. It could be a picture on the wall, or a cushion, or a plant. Then ask them to focus and name 4 things they can feel. This could be the chair they're sitting on, or the feel of their clothes on their skin. Then to name 3 things they can hear. They might be able to hear people talking, or the radio, or the TV in the background. Then to notice and name 2 things they can smell. It could be their washing powder on their clothes, or the shampoo in their hair, or hand soap. Then finally to focus on 1 thing they can taste. This could be a sip of water, or the taste of their toothpaste. If they can't taste anything right now, then they could imagine their favourite taste. Grounding techniques like this one are a really good way of helping to manage emotions when we're feeling really overwhelmed. And there's lots of different ideas online, so have a look and get them to try different ones until they find one that they like. It's important to help them to challenge their unhelpful thinking. When we're anxious, we often have unhelpful negative thoughts and imagine the very worst thing will always happen. Children with anxiety are more prone to negative thinking, and they tend to engage in a lot of negative self-talk. You'll know they're doing that when you hear them saying things like, "No one likes me. I'm never going to be able to do this. There's no point. I'm useless." It's important to support your child to develop helpful rather than unhelpful ways of thinking. The type of questions you could ask them to try and identify their anxious or their worried thoughts include things like, "What's making you feel scared? What are you worried will happen?" You can then help them to find a different way of thinking about the situation. You could say, "If your friend had thought this, what would you tell them? Or if the worst thing really did happen, what could you do to deal with it? Who could help you?" And point out the times before where they overcame difficulties. It's important that you recognize small steps when overcoming anxiety and help your child to build their self-esteem. Self-esteem is the way we think and feel about ourselves. When children have good self-esteem, they tend to be confident and feel good about themselves. And there really are things as parents you can do to help your child develop healthy self-esteem and improve their confidence. Encourage your child to give things a go and really praise them for trying their best. Celebrate successes even if they're small. This helps to highlight their strengths instead of their weaknesses. Give them lots of opportunities to try out new skills. They could maybe explore new activities or hobbies, or you could give them manageable age-appropriate tasks to help around the home. Focus on those small, achievable steps and offer encouragement and praise. Building confidence helps to improve independence and self-esteem. What not to do. When trying to support our children, we can unintentionally make their anxiety worse. So, some tips about what not to do. Don't avoid things. Helping children avoid the things they're afraid of will make them feel better in the short term, but it reinforces the anxiety in the long term. Try not to give too much reassurance. It's normal to want to reassure your child, but constant reassurance doesn't help reduce anxiety in the long term. And you'll find the more you offer reassurance, the more your child will seek it. Don't provide all the answers. Encourage your child to think for themselves. It builds their confidence and their self-esteem. Try also to not unintentionally reinforce their fears. Children learn by watching how others react and manage situations, and sometimes our own responses to situations unintentionally send messages that there is something to be worried about. Parenting a child who's anxious can be really hard. It can make you feel stressed and anxious yourself. Parents are often so focused on doing the best for their child that it can be difficult for them to find the time to look after their own well-being. However, it's really important that you're a positive role model and that you show your child how to manage stress and anxiety. Parents who take care of themselves by getting enough sleep, by exercising regularly and eating a healthy diet can encourage their children to do the same. Wherever possible, try to remain calm and patient when you're dealing with problems and challenging situations. And you could also practice relaxation techniques with your child. Time invested in managing your stress and anxiety will benefit not only you, but the whole family. If you don't see sufficient improvement, though, in your child's anxiety, you might need to seek additional support from a professional. Have a look at Epilepsy Action's website for the other support we can offer. But if your child's anxiety is severe, it persists and interferes with their everyday life, do go and get some help. A visit to your GP is a good place to start. And if your child's anxiety is affecting their school life, it's a good idea to talk to their school as well. Thank you for watching.